When I was growing up, I always had a sense of shame about being who I am. And I always felt like I needed to be like other people. And so this sense of introspection, this sense of reserve, I almost felt shameful about it because I thought I had to be choleric or sanguine when I couldn't be like that. And now that I've found out about these 16 different profiles and that I'm an INFP, it's neither good nor bad, it's just okay. It's okay to be like this. In fact, I feel sort of comfortable. Yeah, I do.
Well, hi everybody, and welcome to another Introvert Power interview. Today I'm going to be having a chat with a good friend of mine, Bob, who is an INFP. So we've known each other for about 12 or 13 years now. And so we're just going to unpack the INFP personality type and see how that person, how Bob experiences his type in his life.
Sounds good.
Maybe we could start with introversion. How do you, what's it like being an introvert for you? What does that look like?
Wow, what's it like being an introvert? I guess, Scott, for me, I'm always super aware of my surroundings. Always super aware, super sensitive to people and responses. And so I'm always cautious in that context about what I say, how I say it, when I say it, to almost to an extreme. And part of the introversion thing is I have this fear of saying too much or speaking too much.
Right.
So that's part of the reason, I guess, it's easy for me to listen. I do like listening. I find it very easy and very comfortable. It's almost something therapeutic about it. But as an introvert, I'm always aware of stepping over boundaries that I've created, even though I'm not exactly sure what they are. Does that make sense?
Not. Can you open that up a little more?
Can I open it up? I think there's so much paradox, almost contradiction about who I am as a person, how I function, how I think, how I react. I think there's this great sense of reserve within me. I describe it that way.
Right.
A great sense of reserve.
Yeah.
I'm always on the reserve side when I'm with people.
Yeah.
There's a sense of reserve. How much do I give out? When do I give it out?
Does that come naturally, or do you need to work?
That's my default position.
Okay, so it comes naturally.
Yes.
It's easy to be there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's my default position. So I can be sanguine at times, but it's not easy. I can be a little extroverted, but I seem to come back to that place a little bit like a turtle puts its head back in the shell. That's me. I go back to that place where I feel safe.
Where you get your energy.
Yes, where I get my energy, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's important.
Yeah.
Yes, that's important, the energy thing. I lose my energy quickly with people.
Right.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And so I have to scurry back into my shell and charge up again. I think I've always been really baffled, envious, jealous maybe of sanguines that thrive on other people's energy. I don't.
How would you define the sanguine?
I think a sanguine for me, I've been surrounded by sanguines most of my life, are people that need to have other people. They need that. They thrive off it. For me, it's an optional extra. I can pick or choose. I usually choose it carefully.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I could choose it.
Do you find you almost attract? Do you attract the sanguine?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I tend to attract. People who need someone to speak to.
Yeah. You too. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. There's that reserve part, and then there's those others that want to talk, and there's kind of almost a yin and yang about that.
Yes, it is. And I find that difficult, Scott, because I've ended up in situations where people talk endlessly and I don't know how to get out of that. I don't know how to offend people. I don't want to. I don't know how to remove myself from that. It's a fear I have.
Yeah.
A fear of being engulfed by others.
Yeah. But a fear of getting out of that engulfment.
Yes.
Or how to get out of it.
Yeah, how to.
You have to get out of it,
Yes,
just not sure how to.
It's the how to,
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting, just as you were talking about introversion, I think I heard a bit of the introverted feeling part as well. The the dominant function for the INFP, in that. How did you put it? It was sort of words to the effect of sensitive to what people say, I think is what you said.
Yes.
And always sensitive of what you say and always holding back.
How I respond, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you, that whole feeling part of you, the introverted feeling part of you, how would you describe that? How does it look to you? Does that make sense?
How does it look to me?
Or how would you describe it?
Painstaking. Painful. Difficult.
Right.
Maybe you could answer.
Ask another question?
Or I ask that differently.
Yeah, okay. The way I've described introverted feeling, just using my intuition, is that it's really vast. It's an internal vastness.
Yes.
It's interwoven, very complex. Not so much straight lines, but sort of interweaving.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact.
That's not me.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I'm the same. In fact, it's interesting, Scott. I seem to find myself in a space with people where I'm operating on intuition.
Right.
Not any structured response.
Yeah.
Just I'm feeling my way through things.
Yeah, right.
And I've got the, like a blind dog, I've got the stick out there, waiting to feel something and then go with it.
Right. So it's more of a feeling than an intuition
Yes,
as such.
a feeling, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so my conversations with people are based a lot around that that sense of intuition. Where do I go with this? How do I feel I should go? So it's never structured. There's a fluidity to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds, when I hear that, it sounds like there's always many different options and directions.
Yes, there is.
You don't have a preconceived direction.
I find that great. I think that's a really good thing for me.
Yeah.
I think I do good by people by being in that space.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do good by that because I know so many people who are sort of one-dimensional in how they respond to things and how they react or act.
Mm-hmm.
But I find with myself, because of this sense of this intuitive sense of I can go in a myriad of different directions. It's just, how do I feel about this? How do I feel I should respond?
So is it the feeling that determines the direction?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Could I replace feeling with intuition? Is that the same?
Well, I won't say you can't, but I would look at introverted intuition, or maybe, well, the second function for the INFP is extroverted intuition.
Okay.
But when you talk about, I'm noticing when you talk about intuition, you very quickly then go to feeling, how you feel about it.
Yes.
Whereas I use, as an INFJ, I use introverted intuition. Often there's very little feeling attached to my intuition. It's just a knowing.
Yes, it's probably the same for me. It's not necessarily a cognitive thing. This thing is happening by itself.
Yeah.
And it's only when I look back that I can see that this happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking about it in a cognitive sense about I need to do this then, I need to do that.
No.
Yeah.
But well, I guess for me, intuition isn't cognitive. It's more of a sense of knowing.
Yes.
But there's no feeling. Sorry, I won't say no feeling, but it's when you describe the direction you go down, you've used the word feeling.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, intuition isn't cognitive, and it isn't feeling. It's
something else.
It's a knowing that there's something over here. Let's go and explore that, but there's no feeling about it.
That describes it best. That's what I have.
Okay. Well, maybe you're an INFJ.
That's why I'm switching back and forward between feeling and intuition. I'm not making the distinction better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's a case of just the way we understand or understand terminology.
I think maybe if I could backtrack a little bit, maybe this might give a bit more context or clarity to what I'm saying. One of the most important things for me when I deal with people, one of the most important things for me is, it's one of my core values, I suppose, is that person knows I've understood them. It's so important for me.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of trouble to make sure I understand what the person's about. And that's not necessarily based on what they say, it's based on other stuff, a feeling, a sense about what's going on, and an intuitive sense about who they are. And it's almost like I can see the landscape of people's lives without them even giving me permission. I get a sense about who people are.
Yeah.
And so during the course of a conversation, I want them to know in a good way, in a positive way, in an affirming way, that I understand them.
So how do you do that? Or what is that?
That's based on a sense. It's hard to define or describe. It's based on a sense I have about the person.
Now, is that sense connected with what you're experiencing for yourself on the inside?
Yes, I think it is.
do you know? Is it more you get a sense of? I'm not even sure how to ask the question, but you get a sense of the landscape of a person.
Yes.
Are you experiencing that landscape inside you?
Yes, I am.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. How do I know the landscape? I don't know. I don't know. It's part of my personality.
But you feel the landscape that's in them.
Yes. Yes. And I see incredible opportunities in that. Incredibly good opportunities in that to help people or to affirm people.
Yeah.
I think I realise that more than anything else, people intrinsically want to be understood and want to know that someone knows who they are.
Yeah.
And I take that's important for me. That's important, that I can echo back to them that I know what's going on, that I know where they're from and where they're going and what they feel.
So it doesn't sound as though...
I'm confused, aren't I?
Of course, being an INFJ, I'm trying to find the one path. but yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of thinking of, you talk about that reserved. You're always like it sounds like you're almost like a minimalist when it comes to communication.
Yeah.
You always prefer to say less than too much.
Yes. Yes.
Yet at the same time, somehow in you doing that, you're able to get a sense of the internal world of another person within your own self.
Yes.
Which is quite a... Are you able to somehow describe how that works?
Is this normal for INFPs to not be able to?
I'm not sure.
How that works. Oh, Scott. How does that? Can I describe how that works?
That's up there with how do you feel.
Maybe we can come back to that.
Okay. Do you understand the question? Like, have I asked the question in a clear way?
Ask it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I guess the parallel or the connection that I'm seeing is that there's a reserved nature, and you're always not second guessing, but you're always prefer maybe not to say something than to say the wrong thing.
Yes.
And there's that sense of a minimalist in regards to making sure you use, if you're going to use words, you use the right ones. So there's a sense that you're not putting out a lot, I guess in a verbal sense anyway, yet you're able to pick up a tremendous amount that's in them.
Yes, well said.
And I'm wondering how.
Yes.
How do you
I think that's
describe it?
I think that's how I learned to be articulate in the process. Being articulate is really important for me to do that with articulation. I don't know, Scott. I don't know how. I can't answer the question. I don't know how.
But somehow in that interaction, you get a picture.
Yes, a sense, a picture, not literally a picture, but just a sense of.
You know where they're at.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So I guess another question would be, with another person, are you? I mean, you're probably doing all of these things probably, but just to body language, words, tones of voice. Are you reading between lines, or is there a sense of what it is that allows you to get that sense?
Yeah, I think all of that. I think voice inflection, words, body language. I think it's the whole package. Yes, yes. Without me realising it, just because this all happens at a subconscious level. It just happens so quickly. But that's part of the process, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, the sort of picture I have, just as we're talking, is like, it's like a person is sharing with you what's going on in their world, and because of that introverted feeling, because of its detail and its, you talk about the different possible roads to go down. It's like I guess in some ways, like I almost picture a keyboard, but with tens of thousands of keys. And when a person is sharing whatever they're sharing, it's touching all of these different keys on the inside of the INFP, creating a sense of where this person is at. Is that?
Yes.
Maybe the keyboard's not the right picture, but there's a whole heap of complexity in the INFP that is able to be drawn on from what someone's sharing, that helps to create almost a mirror image on the inside of the INFP that is inside the other person. I don't know, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, Scott. I'm trying to think of an example of an interaction I had recently. I can't think of one. Can't think of an example. I have a former friend of mine, female. She was a good friend of mine. We're no longer friends. We've just gone different ways. The greatest compliment that this friend paid me was she said to me that I understood her like no one has ever understood her. And that was especially complimentary because she's an incredibly complex woman. Very complex, very difficult to understand. Without sort of making a cognitive decision about this, it became almost a mission for me to do that, to understand her, to find out who she was. And the reason I wanted to find out who she was so that she could be better for it. Does that make sense?